Wade, a full week's training, how useful has that been after a busy start to the season?
Yeah, it's nice just to not take the tempo down a little bit, but give them a little bit of breathing space, because it's been game after game after game. So gave us a little bit extra time to take stock and have a good look at Rovers and work towards the game.
And obviously they played midweek, got a win as well, went above you in the table. How useful was it though, just to be able to do, I mean, presumably you went to the game, did you?
Yeah, I did go to the game, yeah.
How useful is it then to be able to actually see an opponent live, just a matter of days before you play them?
Yeah, you always get you can learn a lot from video and analysis, but it's always good to see them live, and it's a bit more holistic. You pick up on everything around the performance, and it was the right result. They played pretty well. They defensive solidly, and they carved out enough chances to edge the game.
And the way in which they've climbed a few places, I mean, I think you're only 3 points off 10th at the moment. It's ridiculously tight in that table, isn't it? What does that tell you about the league? Is it just sort of everyone's capable of beating everyone else?
Yeah, I think that's true. I generally don't look too hard at the table. We do concentrate on going from game to game, but I think the nature of the league is that it's ultra competitive, and if you're not at it, if you're not bang at it every game, then you're liable to get turned over no matter who you are or sort of what you've done previously.
And people talk about sort of the haves and the have-nots in League One, but does that also show at the moment, the way it is, that there's plenty of the have-nots who are surprising a few people and doing what you aim to do every game of being at it and creating what on paper would be upsets?
No, I think there are some really, really good, well-run teams. There are obviously some teams with bigger budgets than others, but that will be the case in every league up and down the country. I think in this division, certainly, you can be well-run, you can be competitive. Obviously, the size of your club and the money's an advantage, but there are plenty of clubs with smaller budgets that are punching above their weight.
After Sheffield Wednesday last week, you were talking about sort of the not to sort of concede the second and the third, but still in the game for a long time at 1-0. Obviously, you won't face players like Sheffield Wednesday have got every week, but what are the main work-ons that you can take into Bristol Rovers?
From Sheffield Wednesday?
Yeah.
We just spoke about the mentality. I think as a team and as a club, we've come away from Hillsborough a little bit disappointed. I think the 3 goals that we gave up, although the finish for the second it's a brilliant finish, I think all 3 goals we've turned the ball over in probably about 30 yards from our half. So we've come away a little bit frustrated, a little bit disappointed that off the back of the scoreline and elements of the performance, which I think is, for Cheltenham, it's a great place to be. If you go into Hillsborough and the mentality of the group afterwards is that you're disappointed, coming off the back of a defeat, then I think that's a good sign of where the group are psychologically.
Caleb Taylor came off in that game with an eye facial injury. How's he?
Oh no, Caleb's fine. He's trained a week.
Excellent news there. And Dan Alundalu, how much better can he be for just having that sort of little bit of a break?
Yeah, it's just Dan's been excellent. Dan's been really good for us, and I think we're being good for Dan as well. I think we're helping him, and I'm saying improving him. We're giving him all the experiences that you can only get from playing Saturday, Tuesday, and week in, week out. But we do have to be a little bit careful. He's he's not played loads and loads of football. So when I look at squads and teams up and down the league, I think especially with the volume of games that are packed in the early start of this season, most clubs are being a little bit prudent with players. So we did that with Dan, but as I'm sure you've seen, he's been a big player for us, and we just keep chipping away at little bits with him. We're almost not teaching him football, but we're teaching him the game.
Yeah, and also, how much of an education is there for players to sort of how they look after themselves in between games? Getting the diet right and all of that sort of stuff to aid the recovery.
I think generally our group are pretty good at that. I don't think the game's like it was even a decade ago. I think players now are they're a lot more educated in diet, sleep, rest, recovery. I'd love to say more professional, but I think certainly from what I see from our group, they've got really good habits.
And everyone else from the group you had available last weekend okay as well?
The only ones Will Ferry needs a scan on his back. So we're just waiting on a scan on his back, and we'll know a little bit more once he's had that, but Will might be struggling for the weekend.
How big a concern is that? Because obviously he's come in and he's at fairly short notice and done very well for you.
No, he's been excellent, and I think he just had a run of games, a few games back to back, and you're really starting to see what Will was about and what he could offer us. So it'll be a loss, but it happens. You do lose players, and we're fortunate in that we have got good left wing backs in the building. So obviously we've got Ben Williams, who started the season and has had to bide his time a little bit with Will being in such good form.
Yeah, an opportunity for Ben now. Obviously you've got the squad and you've got those players who can come in. How much is it about sort of the impact that those players make when they do come in? Because obviously then that's what it's you're not just handing out shirts, are you? Starting shirts. That people are actually having to really work and show that they're worth a place in the 11.
No, and you talked about people's habits and how they prepare in between games, and it's really important because there might be a player in the squad that waits 4 or 5 weeks for their opportunity, and they've got to be ready when it comes around. I don't think we're in a position where we can say to someone, have a free hit for 5 or 6 games and we'll see how you get on and we'll bed you in slowly. I think it's too competitive to do that. So we've got decent numbers in the squad, but I think everybody that we got is close to the team or would be in around the team. So it's incumbent on them to make sure that they're ready when the opportunity does come around, and that they're fully prepared to present the best version of themselves when that happens.
And Mickey Moore staying at the club, how pleased are you that he's chosen to continue being at Cheltenham and you extend that working relationship with him?
Yeah, no, I'm pleased. I think it's kudos to the club and the board for making the effort to retain Mickey. Good for me because Mickey's been a support, and obviously he's done a good job, which is why he's garnered interest from other football clubs. I'm sure, I don't know the ins and outs, but I'm pretty sure Mickey would have benefited materially if he'd have gone. But sometimes that might not be your priority, and I think we're really pleased that Mickey's chosen to stay and continue the work that he's already done.
Thanks, Wade. Good luck.
Cheers, mate.
Wade, there's been quite a few departures over the summer in terms of obviously Michael Duff and then some other first team members of staff going, which could be seen as a positive for the club doing something right. They've done a good job and they're getting the opportunities to move on. But how important was it that Mickey was still there to sort of oversee what's been building there over the last few years?
Yeah, I think it's. Listen, you think if clubs are coming in for our staff and our players, then it means that we're in a good place and we're doing something right. So, well, you don't want to encourage it. It is a positive sign. But Mickey's an important one because he oversees a lot of different aspects of the football club. So he'll have an input into the academy, he'll have an input into the first team, into recruitment. He'll liaise between the board and the day-to-day runnings of the training ground. So it's quite an all-encompassing role. And like you say, there has been a little bit of chop and change. So I think it's a real positive that we've managed to retain Mickey, and he just is still in situ to knit all those aspects of the club together.
The back three has been pretty settled this season, really, isn't it? I think Lewis and Shaw Long have started every game. Caleb's pretty much started every game since coming on in the first game. So how pleased you've been with that unit now, because it's a new look unit, isn't it, from last season?
Oh, I think they've been really good. So even when you add in, it's a completely new look unit. When you add in Luke in goal, Jacko at wing back, and obviously Will's played a lot of games at left wing back. So that back six, there's only really two that were here last season. But no, I think as characters, they're really good. They're diligent, they're hardworking, they want to improve, they want to drive standards. But I think they've improved and got better as their relationships bedded in, and we've been able to just keep reinforcing the principles of our work with them.
How's Charlie Raglan and James Olinka? Are they getting close?
Yeah, they both trained yesterday. So whether tomorrow comes a little bit too soon for them, possibly, but they're on the grass now and there's no restrictions on them. So yeah, starting to get, as always with your numbers, always ebbs and flows.
Yeah, Ben Williams obviously came in last January. High hopes for him. Exciting signing for Barnsley. He did have an injury, didn't he, towards the back end of last season? Do you think that was hampering him at all at the start of pre-season, or did he come back absolutely 100% ready to attack the new season?
No, he came back. He was fully fit. He was in a good mindset pre-season. And being brutally honest, he just didn't quite. I think the first part of the season, Ben didn't quite hit the heights or level of performance that we know he's capable of. But sometimes, and you've seen it with players in the past, sometimes you benefit from coming out of the team for a period. And Ben's been able to come out for a few weeks, take stock, reassess where he is, get back to really concentrating on the basics of his game and what he's good at. And he has looked, I would say in the past 2 weeks, he has looked a lot brighter in training, a bit more positive. And we know there's a good player in there because we did a lot of research before we brought him into the club. And you've seen his performances from last season. So it's our job now, collectively, to help Ben and ultimately Ben's job to get back to that level of performance that he's shown previously.
Got a couple of ex-Rovers lads in Liam Sercombe and Ryan Broom. Do you expect to get some stick on Saturday yourself?
No, I generally don't know. I've not thought about it, to be honest. Serks is adamant that he'll get a better reception than Broomy. But no, it should be it'll be a good game. I'd imagine. I went to MK. To be fair to them, they took a decent number of fans to MK on a Tuesday. So I imagine they'll sell out for us on Saturday, and it'll be a good atmosphere. It should be a really good game. Good atmosphere, two teams in decent form. So no, I'm looking forward to it.
And I know you can't get complacent, but how good is it to be able to go to a home game with the recent form? I think you've won 4 in a row, haven't you, including the trophy?
Yeah, honestly, we don't always say that the last one doesn't owe you the next one. So I think the minute we start getting complacent or thinking that we've cracked it, we're absolutely screwed. So we know what we look like, and our behaviours and the basics that we have to do that when we look a good team. And the minute we come away from it or start thinking that we're something we're not, or we can afford to take liberties with anyone or anything, then we're in trouble. But I think the group know that. I think they are a genuine hard-working group. I don't think they do take liberties with anybody.
How has James Bittner settled in with the new goalkeeper coach and also the new analyst Tom Carter?
Yeah, it's been pretty seamless with Bits. Obviously, he's got an existing relationship with Luke, which has helped him a lot, and he's experienced enough. He's had enough roles that he knows what it looks like. And he's come in and he's picked up where Dan still left off, really. Who also did a good job for us, Dan. But Bits has come in and he's settled in really well. Tom is at the other end of the spectrum. Tom's just starting out, but he's really keen, really diligent. He sees the game. So Tom's a good one because he can shape the role however he wants to shape it, because he's right at the formative part of his career.